Hey everybody, welcome to Spoon FPV. I'm going to do an interview process, and I got a renowned FPV pilot here with me, Spoon FPV, and I got a couple questions for him, and I'm going to ask him, and let's get to know him a little bit better. So the first question is going to be, all right,
I'm ready.
So, all right, you're ready. Okay, good. How did you get into flying?
I guess it started with my dad when I was a kid. Like he flew airplanes and he was really passionate about it, and he got me into it. And
Your dad,
I
huh?
kind of fell out of it a little bit when I got into college, and then I started back up. The FPV thing
That's
kind
tough
of
in
really
college,
like
yeah.
revived my interest in the hobby. So I've been doing it for ever since I was a little kid, 8 years old.
Who were
So
all your
the
major
thing that
influences
really
in your
got me
FPV
back into the
career?
hobby it was the guys from Flight Test. I saw a Flight Test video, and they were
Yeah, I love
they
Flight
had some
Test.
goggles on, and like they did some chase footage of a what was it? It was their the FT Duster, like over top of some cornfield, and I was like,
I
how
have
did they
one of
get
those.
such awesome footage? And then I looked more into it, and they were flying FPV, and it was okay. Like I need to do this. This is amazing. So I'd never seen footage like that, and I wanted to do it myself. So
What was your first FPV experience?
oh boy, so I was a genius,
Genius,
like
you
line of
say.
sight pilot, really good at it, and I figured went into this. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be so good at this. I'm just pick up the sticks. I can fly anything. So I pick up the sticks
Yeah, a
and
lot of people
put the
start that way.
goggles on. I got everything set up. It was David Vindestall's the tricopter, and put built this thing. Probably had like $800 in it. It had a GoPro on it, like the whole thing, and I fly it. And then I put an RPSMA antenna on an SMA connector, and like it didn't make connection. And I made some noob mistakes. And well, anyway, long story short, I didn't have video once I got like 30, 40 feet away from me, and I pulled the goggles off to find it, and it was gone. I couldn't find it in the air. I figured I'd be able to pull the goggles off and fly it around. Couldn't find it in the air, and the thing like ended up like in the train tracks, like in a ditch, like across the way.
Wow.
I looked for it for maybe 2 to 4 hours.
2 hours.
Spent all afternoon looking for the thing, and didn't find it ever again. It was gone. It's the only FPV thing that I've ever lost, and I was much more responsible after that.
Well,
So
good.
lesson learned.
So, what's your advice to new and upcoming FPV pilots?
I guess it would be to find a buddy, right? So there's a lot of information out there
Right.
on the web, and you can certainly get it started in it and build a decent rig that's going to
Mhm.
fly. But the knowledge and the experience like that's out there in the community, it's it will come to you a lot faster if you have somebody that is experienced to sit there with you and do it. And also join the groups and forums, and obviously I'm going to say to subscribe to Spoon's page.
Of course,
Get,
subscribe to Spoon's
because
page.
like I'm always answering questions on YouTube, even
Yeah,
if it's
you
not
do a
related
good
to
job
the
with
video
that.
or whatever, and on my Facebook page. So so find a buddy, join a group, get involved with somebody that can give you a hand up, and get something out of the box that's ready to fly. And a lot of guys, they try and build they'll try and go after the fastest thing that's possible, right? They'll try and build like the fastest, best race rig ever, even though they don't have the skills to support it. Just get what's there, like that'll get somebody in the air. And a lot of guys, like you see my quads on the wall here, a lot of guys will have quads that like they'll give to you at like a really discounted price that are good for last year, right? That will certainly get you into it. That are really nice builds. So
What What made you decide to come on to Spoon FPV and get interviewed?
well, I keep trying to get so I did an interview with Multi GP News, and they clipped in a little bit of it, and it was kind of interesting, and I got excited about that. And I keep talking to Vec FPV about getting me
Yeah, I
on
love
his
that
show.
show.
And I really respect the guy, and I think he's got a great show, and I'd like to
Yep.
get on there. But
Mhm.
so this is kind of my reach out to him
I
to
think I'd
say,
like to get on Vec's
hey,
show,
like
yeah.
this interview thing is cool, like I can talk, and so Vec, let me have me on your show. Like that'd be cool. So
Deck
nothing
me too,
against you,
anytime.
Spoon, but like that's kind of
Hey,
the bigger
no
thing.
offense,
So
man.
I'd really love to be on that show.
So what are some of the most epic spots you've flown?
So I just did a thing where I haven't edited it all together yet. I want to do it right, and I want it to be something that everybody can, that people that just aren't even into FPV can enjoy. But basically, I did this PAX across America, and I forced myself to
I
stop.
saw
at a
your
bunch of
announcement for
different
that.
places. And I flew at the La Jolla Cliffs, which was a really exciting place to fly, and I did some stuff. The sand dunes were just, it wasn't it wasn't interesting in the goggles in the sand dunes, and like the footage wasn't really that cool, but it was like the experience of actually climbing up to the top of the dunes to get some footage was totally worth it. It was something that I would have never done without the hobby, and
Yeah,
without
this hobby really
actually a
pushes
fan
people.
base to push me to go to new spots. So
Yeah, fan base. Yeah,
I would say
exactly.
the sand dunes, La Jolla Cliffs, and then can neither confirm nor deny, but maybe I heard that a guy flew at the Grand Canyon with
Oh,
a
come
quad
on, you know it was
recently,
you.
and like that would be pretty epic if somebody did that. But I'm sure the
You
FAA,
know it was
National
you.
Parks
Just admit it.
Association, everybody in the world would
Whatever.
come
Okay,
down on
we're
somebody
not
for
gonna
doing
admit that it
that.
was
So,
you, but it's okay.
I don't know that I'd ever admit to that one.
Don't admit to it. Don't take my advice. So, what was your most memorable moment as FPV?
I think my most memorable moment would have been when I flew. It was the first time that I won a multi GP event last summer, and
Yeah, I
I
remember
flew
my first time,
against
too.
Brian and Blitzkrieg and some other
Yeah,
guys
some
that were
fast guys.
really fast at the time. Brian was ranked 40 something in the world at that point, and I just was on top of the world because I beat the giant Brian Banks on
feels
one
good.
day, and looking back on it, I mean he's still an epic pilot, and he probably just had an off day, but it really made me feel good to beat him, and it made me work a lot harder, like in getting fast as a race pilot. So it really changed me as a pilot. So,
What's the significance behind the name Spoon?
pretty much the same day when that happened, it was somebody just came up to me and asked me, oh my gosh, how did you get so fast? And I looked at him and I said a line from the Matrix, and it was basically, there is no spoon.
Okay. Yeah.
First, you have to realize there is no spoon, and then
Right.
they started calling me Spoon FPV. They started calling me Spoon that day, and it kind of just stuck.
Yeah, that's how it happens. So, what made you start a YouTube channel?
So I was searching for videos out. So my first video isn't really a Spoon FPV video, but what made me get serious about it was I was searching for something on D-Shot, and I didn't know how to flash D-Shot on my ESCs, and I basically scoured through YouTube for what I consider the easy way to do it, which is to just watch somebody's video when they put all the research into it.
Yeah, we've
And,
all
I
been
couldn't
there.
find a video on it, so I knew the software was out there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the D-Shot thing. I'll figure it out, and then it's my chance to give something back to the community. And
Good for you.
I said, if I get 500 views on this in a week, I'm going to start taking this YouTube thing more seriously, and I did.
Well, clearly you did,
It
yeah.
was close to 700 views in the first week.
Nice.
So it was, and that's my most popular video because I was the first one to it, and it's kind of out of date now. I don't know if it should be. I wish I could rename it. Maybe I can. I need to look at that, but it should be renamed how to get custom firmware for your ESCs and your board versus how to flash D-Shot, because it's kind of a little older now. But yeah, so that video got me into it because I kind of wanted to give something back to the community that I've taken so much from.
So, what's your craziest crash story then?
Craziest crash story. I got so many good ones.
Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
So, I flew in a parking garage with Rich and some guys, and
Yeah, I know Rich.
basically destroyed all of my Basher quads. And I was parking garages are tough on quads,
Yeah.
especially when you fly with 45 degrees of tilt like I do, and just go 100 miles an hour wherever you can. And I've destroyed everything, and I have my my favorite, my butter racing rig, and I'm just like, oh, this is awesome, and I start flying it, and I'm the best on my racing rig because it's my quad to fly, and I'm just ripping through the parking garage, and it's great. Like, I'm having so much fun, and I'm like, all right, guys, like, check this out. I'm going to do this epic thing. I'm going to fly out this window.
Hold my beer moment.
I'm going to dive the building out there, and I'm going to do all this cool stuff. And so, like, everybody stops, and they're like, okay, let's watch Spoon. Like, he's tearing it up. Like, let's watch him do this.
Right.
So we all stop, and, like, oh, my gosh. So everything's concrete in the parking garage, and I just rip towards the exit. And like there's like this little gap, it's like this high, and like I've been doing it all day, and I ripping straight towards it on my favorite quad, and I missed the exit by like this much, and just destroyed everything.
Oh,
like,
man!
There wasn't a motor that wasn't bent. Like, I destroyed the flight controller, destroyed the camera. I mean, it was a pile of parts at the end of my flight there, and I was. Like, you know, everything else that I broke that day was just like little teeny stuff, right? That just needed to go back to the shop and get fixed. But my favorite quad, I turned into, like, basically took it and threw it in the trash when I got home, and I've never done that with anything. So, and not only that, but it was like a here, hold my beer, watch this moment. So it was pretty epic.
So if you could fly with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
I think I'd really like to fly with. Drew Camden. Everybody knows him as LaDrib. I started watching his content, you know, before he was even popular. Like, he had like 200 subscribers when I found him, and it was like the quality of his stuff was just so good, and it was
he's got good stuff.
It was really epic, and like the way that he did the vlog style, like the whole thing. Plus, he's just like seems to be like a down to earth like kind of guy, and he's also an engineer, and he's got. I don't know. He seems like I watched him just like destroy Preston in an interview about race flight, and was just like, okay, this guy's somebody I want to hang out with, so and fly with. You know, I mean, and I love his freestyle. Like he's just got like I've always said that, you know, the freestyle is it's not, the moves aren't really that hard, right? Well, they are. But it's not something that I can't. I can do all the moves, right? But to put them together in like such a nice flow, like he does, and Steele and Schizo,
those guys are
and those guys to put those moves together like that. I mean, that's the art, and those guys have it. But yeah, definitely Drew Camden, or otherwise known as LaDrib, would be probably my top pick to fly with if I could.
Me
fly
too.
with anybody.
I think I'd fly with him too. If you could issue one challenge to the flying community, what would it be? Interview yourself.
We did it!
We did